Hey there, this is your girl Candace Duff. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm a coach, an author, and an attorney. And I'm here to talk to you today about something that's slightly controversial. Well, not to me, but to some folks. And that is whether or not you should self-publish or try to get traditionally published. Now, there are definitely some pros and cons to both, and I'm here to talk to you about both of them. In terms of traditional publishing, it carries a lot of prestige and mystique, right? A lot of authors dream of and have dreamed of for centuries being traditionally published by a big publishing house. But the problem with that is that you could actually submit your work a million times and your writing could be fantastic, but it could be an off day. And you could send your work to an agent who already has a book like yours, or who's already shopping a book like yours, or who already tried to shop a book like yours and couldn't get it published, and therefore doesn't accept it. And agents are the vanguard of the publishing business. So if you can't get past the agent, you're not very likely to get to the publisher themselves. Another downside is that it can make you feel down on yourself, and it can make you feel like your book has no market, when in fact, it might not have an easily identifiable market, but it might definitely have a market. There are a lot of books out there that were initially self-published because the author couldn't get traditionally published. Andy Weir's The Martian, that was originally a series of blog posts that he compiled together and that he self-published. And when he began to brush the top of the bestseller charts, then he got snapped up by traditional publishing. 50 Shades of Grey was initially written under a different name, and it was published on a website, and it was banned from that site because it had too much sexual content. So then she published it on her own site, and it got snapped up by traditional publishers because they saw the value in it and published it traditional. Amanda Hocking adopted one of her books, no avail, to many, many different agents and editors and what have you. And she went ahead and self-published it, and it became big-time bestsellers. In fact, it became 3 books, and each of those books became bestsellers. So you could actually have a wonderful book that's never snapped up by traditional publishing because there are only so many slots, and there are only so many agents, and there are only so many of the types of books that they're going to publish. On the other hand, if you do get traditionally published, you do get an advance, which is shopped against your royalties or what have you, but you rarely get any royalties on the back end. Because if you're not, for example, a big time bestseller, then your books are probably not going to get the real estate in the stores, the prime spacing that big names and people who are already bestsellers are going to get. And they're only going to print so many of your books, and you're not going to own your books. You're not going to own your backlist when all is said and done. I've been a part of many self-publishing chat loops and groups, and I've been to many writers' conferences, and I've seen a lot of really successful published authors who couldn't get the rights to their backlist back. They were like begging the publisher to get their rights to their backlist back when they decided to go ahead and self-publish. Another downside thing is that you don't see many royalties on the back end, and when you do get paid, it's only a tiny percentage of the royalties. Some of the benefits of self-publishing is that you do own your book. No one can take that away from you. You do have access to your backlist. You do get 70% of the royalties that are received as a result of your sales, for example, on Amazon and on Barnes & Noble and on Apple and Google Play. So you get a much larger percent of your royalties when your books are sold. It used to be that traditional publishing houses would help you out tremendously with marketing, that all a writer had to do really was write the book, and then the publisher would take on all the responsibilities of marketing. No longer. Now they expect for you to have an author platform, and they expect for you to take part in the marketing, and they expect for you to market your book yourself. So that particular advantage of traditional publishing no longer exists. They give you some help with marketing, but mostly the onus is on the author to still do it. And if I'm going to do that, I want to control the rights to my book. I want to control where they're sold. I want to be able to give them away for free. I don't want to have to haggle with anybody about where I put them, how much they sell for, what they do, and things of that nature. If you're an entrepreneur or a business owner or somebody who speaks on stage and sells books from the back of the room or whatever the case may be, you want to have that control over your books. You want to be able to say, I'm going to give them away to everybody in the audience, because it may be worth more to you to do that and make sales on the back end than it will be for you to sell the book and just rely on book royalties alone. And then you have a lot of freedom to do what you want. I know one self-published author, for he's my mentor, Myron Golden. He sold 170,000 copies of his books. And he was able to do that using direct marketing techniques. Dean Graziosi does the same thing. He sells, his books using direct marketing techniques. You can't do free plus shipping offers with a book that's been published by traditional publishing houses. And a lot of entrepreneurs do free plus shipping offers. You've seen them. You've seen Russell Brunson do them. You've seen Dean Graziosi do them. You've seen a lot of authors do free plus shipping offers in order to entice you to come into their world and to get into their funnels and buy their other products and services. So to me, it's all about control. And maybe I'm a control freak. But most attorneys and most business owners I know and most entrepreneurs I know are control freaks. So for the most part, I like to have the control over my books that being self-published gives me. And I know that's controversial to some people because some people, very few actually, believe that if a book isn't traditionally published, it's not a real book. That's, in my opinion, a view that's propagated by the traditional publishing industry because they're having tons of competition now from a lot of self-published authors out there who are really good. And the bottom line is, when you buy a book on Amazon, do you actually look to see whether or not it's self-published? No. You look to see whether or not it has reviews, whether or not it has good ratings, whether or not somebody referred it to you, a friend of yours referred it to you. You look at the cover design, you look at the storyline, you look at the blurb, but you don't think about, oh, is this Macmillan? If it's not Macmillan, I'm not going to get it, right? And most readers don't. So the bottom line is, if you have a good book, if it's professionally edited, if it has a great cover design, if you know how to market it, if you put it together and make it look professional, then, and you tell a good story and you write a good book, there's no reason why your book can't prosper in self-publishing. So that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it, and I know it's controversial, but there we are. Anyway, this is Candace Duffs. I'm signing off. Have a great day. Take care.